then it'll stick them back on for you.
Right, let's come to a stop. Now I do realise I can't take the coal tank with anything without getting us stuck. I ain't got to run around, have I?
Do you know what else you realise? You've just done an hour and a half round trip in 45 minutes.
Yeah, why not?
Well, it should be an hour and a half departure to departure, but...
We did do express one way.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are you saying about the coal tank and getting stuck?
Right, I'm going to have to move the Bahamas out of the way, aren't I? Because I can't take 6 coaches up with coal tank. That's just silly.
I think you should try it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'll be funny.
You think it'll be funny? Right, for those that weren't here at the start, you also get the support coach free skin.
Which, if you have a look at the...
I got stuck in some grass, there we are.
Yeah, if you have a look at the guard's van end...
Guards van end, yeah.
You'll notice that the coach has the correct number on it.
Yeah.
Which it will always have on it, because that's on as a texture rather than as part of the numbering system.
Yep.
But you also see the paintbrush strokes on the texture again.
Oh yeah, just like the other locos.
Which, yeah, I wanted a way of... I mean, in real life, you can't really see them too well. But block colour doesn't look good in Train Simulator.
No.
And I wanted a way, like I said earlier, to show that cleanliness. And yes, even the support coach does get cleaned.
I'm going to say the obligatory clean handles.
Yeah, well, I've personally, along with several other members of BLS, spent a day washing the support coach.
Yeah.
And it's kept in the same condition outside and inside, which is as close to clean as we can get it.
And this one, I believe, requires the Black 5 pack from Bossman Games, does it?
Yeah, the support coach requires the Bossman Games Black 5.
So Matt says, coal tank on 6, you mad, you've seen him struggle with Bahamas.
Yeah, but it'd be... Just think how much fun you'd have watching him, Matt.
I mean, is it even rated to 6?
No. I believe the coal tank is a class 2, if I remember correctly. I think it's a 2F. I'm not actually sure how many coaches it is rated to, you know. I think it might be 4 or 5.
I'm not sure, I haven't really seen it do many full-length ones with much many coaches than 3.
Yeah, I think it can definitely do 4, and I think I've seen it do 5 with vintage stock. But that often includes some of the 6-wheelers.
Yeah.
I don't think it can do 6, but I think it can do 5. But don't quote me on that.
I'm going to give it a quick save since we've done a round trip.
Lovely Jobler.
Right, let's pause there with the coal tank and remove Bahamas because sometimes they're all wobbly when you try and couple them up.
What's that? The coal tank's wobbly.
Yeah, it does wobble. Realistic.
Well, the coal tank is, the class had several nicknames. They were nicknamed Bashers, Gadgets and Mourners. The nickname Bashers came from the brakes on them.
Alright.
And the coal tank has one of the most amazing vacuum brakes I've ever seen. Next time you click on it, Michael, have a look in the cab and we'll have a look at the incredibly detailed brake.
Right, I will just move Bahamas out the way ready for the next trip.
Yep, in fact, I'll tell you what, have a look at the brake in Bahamas first and we can do a comparison. To show you how things developed in the time since coal tank was built and Bahamas was.
There you are. Brakes.
you can see the brake handle there. You've got a proper control dial for it.
Yeah.
Your proper injector setup. You've got your pressure gauge for it, etc., etc. So that's the brake handle on Bahamas. But if you have a look at the core tank,
I bet it's nowhere near.
oh, it's wonderful.
Remind me where the brake is. Oh, there we are. Oh, that's the
You look
reverser.
at the cab, and you look on your left, just next to the reverser.
There you go.
Look on your left there on that pipe.
Yeah.
And can you see that little flap on the pipe?
Oh, just
At the bottom?
out the bottom. Oh, there, yeah.
Under the reverser,
Yeah.
just to the left. That little pipe is that little flap on your pipe, that's your brake handle.
Ah, that's interesting.
That is the most basic form of brake you can get on a vacuum brake, and that's all that does is it's literally a flap which lets air into the pipe. So it serves the exact same function, but it's much more crude than the refined proper control handles you got on later engines. But of course, the core tanks were originally built without brakes, because they were designed to be goods locos for working on unfitted freights.
Yep.
There was no point in having brakes.
Nope.
But yeah, the core tanks were quite an amazing class of engine, really. They were one of the most successful London North Western designs. Despite the dodgy brakes, but they were found to be, I believe when the war came around, they were found to be one of only two classes of London North Western engine that were saved from scrap to be restored for the war effort because they were deemed to be good enough locos to be worth saving. Matt asks, how did this stop? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? I would imagine a combination of the handbrake on the engine, the handbrake on the guards van, the handbrakes on the wagons, and sticking the engine into reverse and running it in the opposite direction, although I don't think that would have worked quite as well. Stopping the engine by running it in reverse works okay at low speeds. It's not really a good idea
No.
at any fast speeds, and it's not a brilliant idea at low speeds either. But it is doable.
I mean, that was a bit of a hard shunt, but we didn't derail, that's alright.
Didn't derail. We just flung the coach up in the air, but it landed back on the rails again.
Yeah. So it's nice to see a coal tank get shiny buffers on both ends.
Yep. Which is, again, another subtle difference, but...
Right. By prior request of the developer, we're going for 6 carriages now.
You'll never make it.
It's telling me the water's low.
Do you know why it's doing that? Because it's you had the help on when you were driving Bahamas.
Oh, do you want me to should turn that off then?
Yeah, if you click on Bahamas and cycle through the lamps again, it should turn it off.
Oh, there we go. So just looking back further up the chat, Matt said he didn't know you could do the injectors either.
Yeah, it's I can't remember where I learnt about that feature. It's probably in the manual somewhere, but let's be honest, who reads manuals nowadays?
I'm just going to say yes to sound good.
Yeah, but do you? Or do you just hop in it and go and then go, oh, I can't do anything?
I go in, have a look, and then go, right, how do I actually set off? Let's look at the manual.
It's always a way to try it. If you can't set off in the loco, it's probably a good idea to check the manual.
Yeah, right, let's see how far we get with this, shall we?
Yep.
Moylesy says, when will it stall? Place your bets.
Well, I reckon if you make it out of Keighley Bank, you should be alright for the rest at line.
How realistic is Train Sim? Let's see.
Well, this is something I've said quite a lot. The models in Train Sim can be very realistic, but the physics not so much. The Train Simulator isn't really an accurate simulator. It's more of a realistic train driving game.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could really call it a simulator. It's not realistic enough for that. Well, there we go. Let's see, she's managing.
She's managing. I mean, the speed's going up. Just some things we missed earlier. Harry, thank you for that follow. Sorry I missed that. And Sugar Rush, thank you very much for those 10 bits. Didn't actually hear anything come in, so maybe Streamlabs is not working or something.
Yeah. See, what we're doing right now, this is the kind of thing you want to do with None on the Core Tank.
Yeah.
Which we have actually done before at a gala. I think that was 2017.
Yeah, they did a double header express, didn't they?
It was, I can't remember which gala it was at, but I seem to recall it ended up being the star attraction.
Yeah. It was probably one of my favourite runs on that particular event, anyway. Oh, I've completely slipped those wheels out. You might have a few wheel flats on that, but...
I think the wheels will be fine. I think it'll be the rails that'll just have a bit of a dint in them. So, Milesy and Matt are both saying that you're hacking.
Trust me, I don't know how to hack, so you've got no chance.
Yeah, and I haven't actually touched the simulation files for the core tank. However, it is possible that since you've clicked on Bahamas and then the core tank, it might have carried over a bit, but...
Or we could just put it down to good driver experience, perhaps?
Well, yeah. I told you you'd manage it, though.
Well,
So,
we made it out Keithley, anyway.
We've made it out of Keithley, and we've got core tank in, again, driving the... Well, it's not actually the current version, I can't say that anymore, because the current version is in many pieces.
I was going to say, it's...
but
is there anything actually in black anymore?
Yeah, the boiler cladding's in black.
Nah.
The whole loco, well, it's either in black, red oxide, or undercoat. But the loco will be returning in the same livery as far as I am aware.
That's good.
Yeah, it'll be... That's the plan as far as I know. I did inquire about whether it'd go into lined black again, and they said it's possible, but the lining was a bit of a pain to do. And they like to do the restoration work themselves, including the paintwork, which, yeah, fair enough. But they were saying that generally they prefer it in plain black anyway, because one, it's a lot more suitable to run with everything else.
Yeah.
You know, you can run it with virtually any rolling stock or any other engine and it will look okay with it. You know, it's not like running, if you run a BR engine in BR livery with vintage stock, it looks a bit odd.
Yeah.
And there's core tank not having any sort of specific railway markings on it, it can kind of fit with everything. So yeah, it's likely to be staying in plain black.
That'll do. Yeah, the brakes on Coal Tank aren't very good, are they?
No. But, and that's how it earned the nickname Bashers. But it makes an interesting combination when you have Core Tank and Nunlo together.
Yeah.
Because you've got Core Tank, which is a really narrow engine, but you've got this really narrow Victorian engine with bad brakes, and you've got this short, fat, chunky industrial engine with bad brakes. So you end up with quite an interesting combination, and the couplings and buffers don't work together too well either.
No.
Which is why if you're ever on a double header with Kotang and Nunlo, it does actually tend to be wobblier than just Nunlo on her own.
Yeah. All good fun, I'm sure.
Oh, it's delightful fun. It leaves you with a sore neck, but it's good fun.
Right, to catch up on the chat. Welcome, James. Sorry I didn't see your original message. Hope you're doing well. Having a nice week. Miles, he says that's the Steam Loco version of the supercharged Class 47. Matt says more power than a 50. Fox Red Buddy says, are you going back to Bahamas afterwards? Which we are. Not sure what we're going to be hauling with it next, but we're definitely going to back to Bahamas anyway.
James asking, is the TAF Veil available for the KWVR? 85 isn't available yet. However, I believe it is one of the locos that Caledonia Works are interested in making. If they find suitable reference material for it and all the usual gubbins. So it's on the list of potentials, but there's nothing concrete there yet. Football King says that they miss Nunla, and yeah, I miss Nunla too. But
I'm completely the wrong way. Got lost.
Yes, you've got lost at Ingra. Well done, Michael. But yes, Nunla will be returning to Steam. Nunla is next in the overhaul queue, and we have the funding to do it, so hopefully once Tank's done, Nunla will be the next project. Matt says Tank and Bahamas next.
I'll let you pick what we're doing next.
How long are we streaming for?
I think we've put down 7 till 9, but
7 till
it's
9.
open for adjustment.
Well, we were talking about a double header, weren't we?
We were.
And 10 coaches. So I think Bahamas and Tank on 10 coaches would be a nice one.
Ah, you put it. Well, we've got 6. We've got the other wagons, haven't we? We've got 6 Mark 1s, the support coach, and the wagons.
Ah, right. Well, yeah, we'll just take the whole lot.
Oh, it's slowing down now. That's not good, is it? There we
No,
go. That's better.
You are pretty much on the steepest part of the line now.
Which livery do you prefer for 1054? Oh, I'd actually just go with the one it wore in its last ticket.
Yeah,
To be honest, I haven't seen it in any others, so I can't really comment.
yeah, I think it's a tough one for me because the unlined black goes with anything, and I kind of like that about it. You can run it with anything and it looks good, but I do think it looks a little bit plain.
Yeah, it has got that about it.
And I think, for me, I think I'd have to go with a lined London North Western Railway black, just because although the lining's quite simple, it just adds that little bit of extra fanciness to it.
Just everyone look away while we go through the gates. They aren't working. Shh, look, make it look like it didn't happen.
La 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 la.
Move the scene over to the be back soon.
Yeah, unfortunately that's a bug with a route. Once you've gone past the gates going one direction, once they've sort of opened and shut once, they tend to not open and shut again.
No. James loved it when it was lined out, however just seeing it is great.
Yeah, still a big one to ask is, should we ever put Bahamas back into Crimson Lake again? Because, good one, innit?
It's a good one. I mean, you put it in green, thinking it was going to be the nice, the only green Jubilee, and then...
And along comes Alberta Teo. Which, again, that's another one that people get upset about, because, oh no, you can't have lights, they're on there, la-di-da. But, actually, it's quite appropriate, because a fair bit of Alberta actually ended up on Galatea.
It did, yeah.
I believe that Alberta was the original choice to be preserved, but Alberta was... In BR days, Alberta was kind of the celebrity engine of the Jubilees.
Yeah.
Alberta was the one that worked quite a lot of the rail tours, so it became quite a well-known engine. And the idea was that they were going to save that one, but it was in pretty poor condition, so they ended up going for Galatea instead because it was in better nick. Might not have been Galatea. It was one of the other Jubilees anyway. It wasn't Leandro, it was Galatea or Colapa.
So we're going nice and slowly past the mound for the photographers.
Oh, I hate you. Oh, what were they doing going past that? They weren't putting any effort in. Ah, they've ruined my mound photo.
So James says the one loco I saw only once at the West Valley and would love to see again is 48431.
Ooh, yeah, that's an interesting one. Asbestos the engine. Yeah, it's unlikely that we will ever see the 8F return to the West Valley. It may do one day, but unfortunately the overhaul on that is going to be a big job. Loco's in poor condition, and the boiler cladding is made of asbestos, which obviously creates a massive health and safety issue.
I'm a bit worried we may not make it to Walkworth here, Sam.
Look, you're not doing a railway children on us.
I mean, at least we're at Walkworth. We can get something from Haworth.
Yeah, you're thrashing the engine too much, that's the issue.
Who doesn't love a bit of thrash?
Thrash is all well and good, but you need... Yeah. See, the trick is to drive in engines in train sim. Almost every engine you want full reg and you want to drive it off the reverser.
Right, let's see if we can creep into Walkworth.
Yeah. Yeah, Miles asks, saying that the 8F's tender tank fell apart. It didn't quite fall apart, but there were some rather impressive rust holes inside of it. And it was decided that the tender tank was beyond saving. So the tender tank was scrapped, and Bahamas's old tender tank has been set aside to replace it if it ever gets restored.
Ah.
Footballkin's asking, what about 80,002? 80,002 was going to be restored after its last ticket, but when they took it apart they found that it was actually in a much poorer state than they realised, and it would need a fairly major bit of work doing to it. So again, it may come back again, but 78022 was done up instead. And 78022 was found to be in much better condition than expected, and the overhaul ended up being a lot quicker than expected.
Good engine is that. I do like that one, and it's green.
It is a nice engine. Yeah. But yeah, Leworth Valley has an overhaul queue, but in reality what often ends up happening is it's simply the loco that's in the best condition that gets restored next. Which is, you know, it makes the most sense for the railway. There's no point spending loads of money doing up an engine when you can do up another one for the price. But they have they have different loco pools. They have big engines and little engines.
Hmm.
The big engines being engines that can pull a 6-coach train on their own, and the little engines being, like Co-Tank, which can pull 4-coach or 5-coach trains. So they've got to they always try and keep a balance, so like they have, at least 2 big engines at any one time. But yeah, it's the unexpected complications you get when trying to maintain a preserved railway.
Good evening, Joseph. Hope you're doing well. You've just come as we're waiting for pressure to build on Coal Tank. I think we've done well to get it this far.
I told you it were doable.
So is there any details you'd like to give about this reskin and what you've done?
I've got to try and remember now. It's been a while since I've touched this one. I've used the same texturing sheets as I have for the Bahamas reskin, so if you have a look at it up close, you should be able to see all the brushstroke textures on it again.
Yep.
And yeah, I need to go back and revisit all the Coal Tank ones before release, just to do a few more tweaks. For example, the cab roof I need to make a bit less shiny than the rest of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not much less shiny, because I've been up there and sat on there and polished it. And it does get cleaned, but
Yeah.
it's normally a little bit dirtier than the rest of the loco. But yeah, there's not really much to say about the Coal Tanks. They've been retextured to the same standards, and that's about it, really.
Still looks good.
I may go back and rework the cab on them as well, but I've not quite decided yet.
Oh, I ended up down here. Oh, it's a camera angle, that's alright.
Yep.
That's where I went wrong in the tunnel. I ended up down here somewhere. And I couldn't see what was going on. Right. Let's have a look at the chat.
Yeah, go on, I'll let you go through chat.
I was going to say, James has asked a question on the route.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go for. Yeah. Will we ever see some freight for this? You are quite right. Steam Sound Supreme did mention some ages ago. There is, in fact, a Keighley and Worth Valley Railway extension stock pack in the work with Steam Sound Supreme. I've contributed to that. That has 4 of my reskins in. It has City of Wells in 1980s, I think, mainline condition. Michael, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah, I was having dog issues. I released the brakes and then had dog issues.
But yeah, so it has City of Wells in mainline condition. It has 78022 in British Railways green, as is its current condition. It has one of my personal favourites. It has an austerity. It has Brussels, not Brussels, it's Fred, the austerity, in Keighley and Worth Valley Railway livery, and that's a throwback to the very early days of the railway.
Uh-huh.
There's also a link to Bahamas there, because that locomotive, Fred, is now at Tyseley, which is where Bahamas was restored. Last ticket. And in addition to all that, it will have a reskin of the Digital Traction Midland Railway 3F into the version of the 3F which pulled the last British Railways train on the line.
Nice.
So that was the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway Society special, and it was the last British Railways train on the line, and it was the first train on the line organised by the Preservation Group. So it was kind of a nice transition, really. Or transition. Because
Right, let's have another look at the chat. Where were we up to? So James says the KWVR's got some great loco suited to the area. Which, it does indeed. They all look suited to it, whenever they're out, anyway.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about the Worth Valley, I've said it many a times, is that it's the perfect heritage line. And it doesn't do everything the best, but it's the only one which does everything well. You know, a lot of railways have obvious strengths and weaknesses. There's some which have got like really good loco departments, but not so good carriage departments, etc., etc. But I think the Worth Valley manages to hit a balance with, you know, with everything, with the way it's run. It hits a balance with the type of passengers it attracts. It attracts locals, family groups, tourists. It attracts, you know, heritage enthusiasts. It attracts the whole board.
Yeah.
And in terms of features on the railway, it's all uphill to Oxenhope, so you get the locos working properly, which is something a lot of lines don't have. Or they'll only work for a short section and then that's it. But in terms of features, you have a viaduct on the line, you have tunnels, you have bridges, you have level crossings, you have a mainline station, you have double track bits, you have single track bits. You've got pretty much everything.
Right, we're nearly at the top of said hill now. Bit short, but that'll do. Need some pressure in, you see. Right, while we're waiting, we'll read through some more of the chat. So, Tanjmir, welcome to the chat. If you've got any questions about the reskins you see today, then fire away and Sam will answer them to his best knowledge. We've answered James's question about the freight. Matt says BR Black needs sorting.
Yeah, I saw that and I elected to ignore it.
Tanjmir, your Heathfield route will be shown at some point, maybe next week. We've had this one in planning for a bit, so naturally this one's taken first place.
Yeah, it's part of a 2 in a row thing for me. I'm here tonight with Michael showing it on the Worth Valley. And tomorrow night I'm taking Bahamas on the main line with Reese with Angry Welshman Productions.
There you go, you got it in the end.
I got it in the end. So yeah, if you want to see how it performs on the main line, then come along and watch that tomorrow.
But yeah, I'll probably come and join in. I get to sit back and not have to worry about whether my driving skills are up to scratch or not.
Yeah, well, Reese has put a load of stops in it, and I was like, oh yeah, it'll be nice and easy driving. I'll just be able to thrash it the whole way. I won't have to do anything. No, Reese has put a load of station stops in, so it's going to be like, oh great, I actually have to brake. But of course, steam trains are weird things to try and stop because there's a lot of weight there. And the longer your train is, the more awkward it is.
Yep.
Will you be making/adding any additional headboards for Locomotive and Bahamas? That's a good question. I personally won't be making any more. However, my friend Ethan, who runs Peppercorn Workshops, he has put together a load of headboard reskins, and I've given him my full permission to add them to any of my reskins. So if you have a look at if you just Google Peppercorn Workshop, it should come up fairly near the top. His headboard section for his locos is currently shut, but if you keep an eye on that, if he does any modifications to my locos, adding headboards and that, you'll be able to find them on there. But I'd recommend checking out his website. He's got quite a lot of nice mainline reskins on there. He's done a lot of support coaches. So if you have Lee Armstrong Powerhouse Mark 1 pack, it's great to go there and you can check out all the various support coaches. Yeah, he's done some for Mayflower to go with my Mayflower reskin as well.
So Matt said, will it be pushed by a diesel tomorrow?
No.
No, he's going no diesel assistance.
We're taking 11 Mark 1s and the Mark 2 support coach, and we're taking it with no assistance.
Good luck.
Yeah, I've done a trial run, but that was just me on my own, so it's probably going to be a lot better than we're going to do tomorrow. Not that I don't have faith in Reese's firing, but I don't have faith in Reese's firing.
Matt also said it's awkward for Michael in general, for some reason. I'm not sure what that was in connection with, but... We'll have to remember when we come up with all the coaches and wagons that we will need to bring on a... we'll need to pick up something from Howarth, won't we, to do the shunt?
Yeah.
If we're going any further.
Ah, there we are. So we've got Ethan in the chat there. Putting in a comment there.
Ah, welcome to the stream, Jake. Matt wants the Black 5 out at some point, and James says the Green Dragon is another nice local on the Worth Valley.
The Green Dragon is a lovely loco, but I'm not entirely sure about the shade of green it's been painted in at the moment. I honestly can't tell if it's just the lighting, but it's I'm gonna wait until we see the finished film before passing judgment, but I've seen the undercoat at least, which was a very interesting shade of green. It's a lot more vivid than you would expect to see on a steam engine. So yeah, for anyone who's in my Discord server, if you have a look in the developer updates chat, Ethan has shared some screenshots of the headboards he's working on.
I don't think I'm going to make it to Oxenhope, Sam.
Michael.
It was going well, and then Matt said don't go too quick on a flat railway, and then that was it. It was gone.
How much pressure have you got in the boiler there? Is that into the 80s?
No, 90s.
Huh. Now, Michael, you know the cold temp blows off at 150, don't you?
I do know that, yes.
And you know, like, once the cold tank starts blowing off, it just doesn't stop, don't you?
I do know that, yeah. Don't ask. I don't know how it's got so low. It was fine a minute ago.
I don't know if you can hear me sighing, but if you can...
Depends whether I've cut it off or not. Come on. Otherwise we'll roll it down. I'll go and get us... go and get another engine to push it up.
James says can't be as bad as the Green Map 372 War on the Railway. It seems to be a fairly similar colour, but like I said, I'm not entirely sure whether that's the final coat or just undercoat. So. Well done, Michael. You've got to stop for a
Stopped. Yay. Oh, I've just found a signal under here, look. I didn't know that existed.
That's probably a case of, it's probably there for scenario purposes.
Yeah. We'll just wait. Wait and see. We did say we'd blame you if it went wrong.
Well, yeah, but we're actually blaming your incompetent driving.
No, we're not doing that.
If you were blowing off and you couldn't do it, then we'd blame me, but the fact that you've almost halved your boiler pressure, we'll blame you.
Yeah.
Hey, I said it would be good for a laugh, and here we are. Everyone feel free to laugh now. Now is the time to eat your popcorn.
No. We're just waiting. Go get the black 5, says Matt.
Do you want us to get out and push?
You can get out and push if you want. I don't know how many people's on board. Again, it looks empty. Maybe
Well, what are you
maybe
talking about empty train?
I'm going to say I've got the wrong head code on front. Just sort that out.
See, it's at this point like what Reese would do is just ditch all the coaches.
Oh yes, but I've got to go back. I can't just ditch the whole coaches to get... We'll put the special headboard on. I'm going to go and get the black 5 or something, I think. Otherwise we're going to be there for a while.
Amateurs.
Yeah.
Tell you what, it's going to be interesting when it comes up to release for this. Me and Reese are planning on taking the mainline mainline core tank.
Yeah.
We can't do the exact route because it doesn't exist, but we're planning on taking the mainline core tank with a mainline consist for a run on the mainline, which is yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It is indeed.
But yeah, so while you're in the Black 5, you can see how drastically different the cab is.
I was going to say, this is what the standard Jubilee kind of looked like before you did your work, didn't it? A few changes, but...
Yeah. That's pretty similar to what it was.
See, there was a reason why we stopped there.
Yeah, and this has given me... if it weren't for that air brake... If it weren't for that air brake, I could have a go at putting that cab on the Bahamas. I don't know if it'd work, but I could have a go. That could produce an interesting result.
Always worth a go. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is running the new Steam Sound Supreme sound pack or not, but I'm sure someone will tell me. Don't rush off out of the way now, slowly. Well, this is all fun and games, isn't it?
Well, this is about the usual chaos that happens with train sim live streams.
It
Yeah,
is.
I don't know how yeah, all these professional train sim streamers manage to do smooth scenarios. How do they not just run into random errors?
I've no idea.
Like, I don't think I've ever tried doing any form of train sim scenario where it's gone perfectly to plan.
You're
Also,
you're concentrating on everything, so...
Yeah. You can see the difference in the Steam textures here as well.
Indeed you can.
So you can see how the default ones are a bit more...
I'm going to save it here because I'm pretty sure some other times I've had issues with coupling up this Black 5 before.
Let's see if you go the proper way.
What, stop? I'm going to stop here, but I was kind of thinking, should I have gone to the top of the loop?
Oh, you are going the proper way.
Not just a half job, you know.
Well, you never know. I mean, there's certain people out there that think they know everything about railways and how they operate, when in reality they know very little.
I mean, I might have to go to the top end, but, you know, that's not through lack of me trying. Spam shift and shift G and try for that instead. This set of points here has always been a problem for me.
I've never had any issues with it.
I think Matt had an issue the other day with one of these scenarios. It just wouldn't change. Spam shift G. It either goes... Yeah, you see? The right way.
So, tonight, Michael gets lost on the Worth Valley. Michael stalls a train.
Yep.
And Michael learns how to operate points.
What, spam shift and G? Is that what they do? Is they on the real Worth Valley?
Yep, they actually have, if you have a look on the point levers, there's actually just a shift and a G button, and you just have to keep tapping that until the points change.
Yep.
But yeah, in all fairness, points are actually a lot harder to change than people realise. Same with signalling levers, they do actually require quite a lot of strength to move them.
I mean, if you are just joining us, we will get back to the reskins. We're just having an issue with the pressure.
We have an issue.
Matt says I must be quicker.
Yeah, have you got a proper token locked out? I mean, what you should have had to do is you should have had to run off from the core tank with a token, run all the way down, well, walk at a brisk pace safely down the side of the track with the token to go get the engine out.
I was going to say, there's got to be some detonators that up here now, haven't there?
Yeah. Hey, that'd be something interesting for train sim. Should have to see if someone could do that. Make some detonators you can put on the track as like a marker. You might have to, it's like, if you could put them down as like a signal or a crossing gate or something, you know, you can have animated actions.
That would be cool.
Play a sound. If you had detonators you could stick on the track, and then...
Oh my god, I've derailed it. Good effort.
Like,
I don't even... How has that even changed?
well done.
Wow.